Hey, welcome back to Florida's Fourth Estate, everyone. So glad that you stayed with us for something that is really pretty important. Important because these are the people we don't think about until we absolutely need them, and we really need them right now. I'm talking about nurses. There is a huge shortage across the country, and particularly here in the state of Florida, where one source says in the next 12 years, we could be looking for some 60,000 nurses.
And UCF is really making a push to get us more nurses. So we have the dean of UCF's College of Nursing. Her name is Mary Lou Soul. We are so glad to have you with us. They are taking some steps to really try to amplify the number of nurses, because if we don't make some sort of change soon, we're going to be in real trouble. So Mary Lou, first off, welcome to Florida's Fourth Estate.
Thank you very much, Matt and Ginger.
You know, I thought when I was younger, I was going to be either a teacher or a pediatrician. Turns out I don't like blood, and young children scare me. So what is it? Because you're going to be getting people who apply, but not everyone will make a great nurse. Who makes a good nurse, Mary Lou?
You know, that's a really great question, Ginger, because to be a good nurse, you have to have somebody who does like to be around people, loves to care about people and make a difference in their lives. So you want somebody that's, first of all, that it is a calling, and some people know they want to do something in healthcare, and whether or not that's nursing or another field, but you have to be able to at least talk to people, because not all nursing involves blood, but it's about that contact. You have to love the sciences, so having that interest in science and why things work and how the body works, and also an interest in how that we use evidence to do what we do. So it's really a conglomeration of being a scientist and being in the STEM field, as well as being in that healthcare field.
But it feels like we're losing nurses. I know a few people in my family who are in that profession. COVID came around, and the ones who are sort of up in years were like, yeah, I think this is my time to be done, because this is just a little too much, a little more than I want to deal with. Did you find that we lost a significant amount of people during that time?
You know, you're very much right, Matt, with your family of what you saw, and that there were a lot of nurses who had pretty much towards their end of their career, and they saw that with COVID that they just could not handle the stress of it. And many of them were offered lucrative packages to retire early, and I would say many took advantage of it. And you think about the life knowledge that we lost with those retirements. But the good news is that there's a lot of people behind them that want to be nurses.
My question, though, Mary Lou, is how did Florida get here? How did we get, like, say, in the next 12 years, that source I cited, that we will need some 60,000 nurses? And is it a Florida problem, or is Florida the norm or an anomaly?
It is a national problem, as we saw with COVID, with, again, those early retirements and getting people back in the pipeline to replace those individuals. But it's really exacerbated in Florida because of our growth. Look at the number of people coming into Florida. And that 60,000 number that you cite is including 35,000 registered nurses, which is what we educate. So we're growing, and we know that the healthcare industry in the area is growing to support all the growth in Florida. That's not just in Central Florida, but the entire state. So we know that in order to get the Disneys here and the KPMGs here, all of those businesses that we are trying to grow, that we need healthcare. And nurses are the integral part, and I think the cog that keeps everything rolling with healthcare. And it's part of that economy and that growth. So it's really important.
So what kind of money these days do you make as a nurse coming out of school, and what are your options moving forward from there?
I know that starting salaries are now in the 30-some plus dollars an hour. So we're talking $60,000, $65,000, $70,000 a year to start as a nurse, and that ability to go up. We have clinical ladders that allow nurses to say, hey, I want to be involved in this. I'm going to do this amount of education, and I'll do some enhancement. And then it's really it's a wide open opportunity. I tell people that nursing is not a one-stop shop. You're a nurse for life, and you can work where you choose to work. But I know nurses that started out at the bedside in CCU, taking care of patients after open heart surgery. Now they're my primary care providers at the clinic that I go to. And they've gone from that acute care setting to that primary care and become nurse practitioners. And we have a big push right now to get individuals to get that master's and advanced degrees to serve as those leaders, those managers for all of healthcare. And faculty, we are in a critical faculty shortage as well as that bedside type nurse shortage.
There was something that happened during COVID too that I started seeing. Besides everybody making sourdough bread, it seemed like everyone who was a nurse started to become a traveling nurse. Is that really a profession that pays the way people, when they talked about it, it was like husbands were quitting their jobs to follow their wives. Wives were like saying, hallelujah, he's a traveling nurse. What is a traveling nurse?
So a travel nurse is someone who takes about a 13-week assignment, and then they are assigned to a place anywhere across the country to provide health care. And it could be in the acute care setting, it could be in an emergency setting, a primary care setting. And during COVID, the nursing shortage got exacerbated, and people went into travel because it became very lucrative. I mean, there were individuals I heard making $250 an hour. So they worked in 13 weeks and then took a break. But that's not a sustainable model for our institutions. They did it because they had to. And now the goal for them is to really reduce that number of travelers and really focus on recruitment and retention of the staff that they have, because it is a business model that will put institutions out of business. But we know some of our students want to do it. They're like, I want to travel for 2 years. I want to see the world. I want to go out to California. I want to go to Texas. I want to go to wherever. And we hear them say that because this generation there today wants to do all kinds of different things. So it gives them that opportunity. It does help fill a demand when it exists. Like in Florida, a lot of institutions use travelers during snowbird season. So looking at, we have extra needs. We have staffing that works fine 9 months of the year, but boy, January, February, March, we need more nurses. So it is an okay business, a good business, but it's not a sustainable model for our healthcare agencies.
Let's talk about what you guys are doing to try to get us more nurses in the state of Florida, which is so desperately needed.
That is so much for asking that. Last year in July, the state budget was passed, and we were fortunate to be granted what we call pipeline dollars. So we got a substantial amount of money, nearly $7 million last year, that is supposed to be recurring to grow enrollment. So our first step pass is to grow our enrollment by about 50%, which means graduating another 150 nurses a year. And we started this fall with 110 new nurses this fall and spring. So we've admitted more students. We're using those funds to admit more to hire more faculty. And the third thing we've done is to help. We want to ensure student success. As you admit more students, you want to make sure they graduate. It's a disservice to us if they graduate and they don't get a job and they don't pass their licensure exam. So we're putting in some student success initiatives, including staffing and test prep and things like that. So we're excited about that. And lastly, we also have some funds that they provided to give us a start in a building, because we're in leased space in Research Park. We're not a main campus, and we are busting at the seams with this extra 110 students that we have. And so we are beginning planning a building on the Lake Nona campus where we know we can deliver cutting-edge, cross-cutting care, interprofessional alongside of the College of Medicine and other health professions. And we're working on the plans right now. It's been so much fun working on that. So we're on also an aggressive fundraising campaign to help us get to our end goal for that building.
Thank you so much for joining us and sharing that knowledge and insight. And we hope that we can, at least put a dent in that shortage.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mary Lou.
And thank you for watching Florida's Fourth Estate. You can download it from wherever you listen to podcasts or watch anytime on News 6 Plus.